This is Tyson Paul from WheelOnTheLaughs.com. Today I'm here with one of Chicago's finest comedians, one of the best in the business right now. Currently just had a new comedy special coming out entitled I'm Being Nice. Let's give it up for our person today, Miss Deanna Ortiz. How's it going, Deanna?
Hi. Hello. Good. How are you?
Oh man, trying to live the dream like you, Deanna.
Love
Oh
it.
man.
Yeah.
Oh man, so congratulations first off on your new comedy special coming out and being released on Comedy Dynamics. It's out right now. You can actually stream it for free everywhere if you have Amazon or any social website capabilities. You can see it all over the place. It's definitely a joy to watch. My first question to you is, why did you pick the title I'm Being Nice?
I chose I'm Being Nice because a lot of the feedback that I get, especially from strangers on the internet, is that I am abrasive and mean in my stand-up, especially with this special, which very revolved around dating.
Yes.
And I think that a lot of times when I say something, everyone's like, oh, she's mean. And I'm just like, no, I'm being nice. I'm honest. I'm being nice and honest. And I'm actually a really nice person. but but everyone thinks that I'm mean. So that was back and forth on a couple different names. And I honestly don't even remember what they were at this point. But this was after the fact. Like I decided on a title way after. Like after the recording and everything. So I was like, let's just do this. And it's like we me and my friends like threw around a couple ideas and that we got on that one. And I was like, great, let's do it. So it just really like perfect.
Yeah, because I've seen your comedy like for a few years now and stuff. And like I said, I've been a huge fan of your stand-up for a while. So I knew that when you wrote the title I'm Being Nice, I knew that this was just going to be like kind of like a contradictory
Yeah.
title that always works with a lot of comics. So tell me about like, because obviously you've been in comedy for a few years, and obviously like even the thought process of creating a comedy special has to be just it's a journey all its own. So tell me how the process started for you to where you thought, okay, I'm ready to do a comedy special, to the point where you started production.
Well, I think a lot of people are recording specials right now like crazy because like you can make money on your own on YouTube. And so people are recording their stuff a lot. And that never like appealed to me, just for the sole fact of if I record this and I put it out there, now I can't do it anymore. I know that's not really the case, but back in the day, that was kind of the vibe. Like, well, if you film it and you record it and you put it online, you kind of have to put those jokes to bed. And that was really scary for me. But, you know, over the years, you just kind of build the timeline of your jokes and like the stuff that you're really excited to say. And Comedy Dynamics and Super Nice Guys reached out to me to say to see if I was interested in doing it, and it was kind of the best fit, timing wise, because I was already thinking about like writing a solo show and figuring out like what I want to do next with comedy, because you get to this point where you're like, how many times can I tell this joke without sounding like I'm a robot?
Yeah.
And so it was a perfect timing that they reached out, and I was like, yeah, let's do it. And then, yeah, we just kind of went from there in terms of like production and scheduling and stuff. Like I said, like it was really laid back and chill in my experience, which I think was also something that I was nervous about, of being like super high strung and overwhelmed with the process. But for me, it was pretty relaxed, which was a nice surprise.
Yeah, no, because actually, I mean, it's kind of unusual for a company like the Comedy Dynamics and Super Nice Guys to reach out to comics about like producing a special. Usually, it's like, oh, they already have a special like put together, and basically they're trying to shop it to them. So that actually has to be like a credit to your material and to you as a comic. So I know you had to take that as like a high regards, like acknowledgement.
Sure.
From
Yeah.
them to
First, when
make
they messaged me, I was like, is this spam? Like,
yeah.
what do you guys want? Get
They were
out of
like,
it. You don't want
No, we're not.
Exactly your point, because a lot of people get the whole special done and then they sell it and shop it around, and that takes a really long time too. So when they reached out, I was like, "Is this a joke?" But yeah, I was really lucky that they decided to do stuff in Chicago and that they chose me along with some other comics to be a part of the filming that weekend.
Yeah. So when the process like was kind of when production was about to start, like how much of the special did you already have like basically like prioritized and programmed into what you were gonna say?
Yeah. I think like there was a good 20 minutes like that I was doing consistently. And
Mhm.
once we signed the contract and everything, I had to sit down with all my material and be like, what do I like? How does it fit? Like there were certain things that I maybe wanted to do, but it didn't really fit with the tone of everything else that I was really excited about saying. Because that's the other thing. I teach a stand-up class in Chicago, and all my students are always like, "What do I want to talk about?" And I said, "Just talk about what you are excited about, because that will show on stage."
Mhm.
And that was kind of my mentality of coming into figuring out what my set list was going to be. I was like, I want to do the material that I've been doing for the past couple of months. It was about 20 minutes, but we get to 50. And so I was like, well, what else can come back out of, the Disney vault, whatever, to add back into the full thing, and also make sure that it feels conversational and that it flows really well.
Mhm.
And it's something that I would, that I would like performing. That'd be
Mhm.
happy to see on someone's TV.
Yeah. And then I mean I guess like so you get the material together, you obviously find a venue. Like one of the most important things in comedy and forming a comedy special is finding a venue that you're comfortable shooting with, because that could be a deal breaker or like kill the whole thing like in itself. Like how did you decide on the Den Theater to actually
Mhm.
record the special? Out of like, especially like since you're a Chicago comic, like you're basically like performing like every night in all types of
Yeah.
legendary places, but you
Yeah.
chose the Den Theater. Like, what made you choose
Mhm.
that?
So Comedy Dynamics already had everything set with Den. They were like, we're going to record these specials and it's going to be at the Den. And if I had the choice, I still think I would have chosen the Den, only because like exactly what you're saying. There's so many different venues, and to my earlier point, there's so many people that are recording specials right now. So a lot
Mhm.
of times you'll see people's specials and you'll recognize the background from something else. So I think that's was really important to make it look a little bit different.
Mhm.
Whereas the Den has a bunch of different theaters that they can film in. So they have like a big room downstairs and they have like 2 or 3 theaters upstairs. And the one that we filmed in was super like not it's like a black box theater and it's got like 60
Mhm.
people, I think. So everybody was really packed in there, low ceilings, great for comedy. And I wanted the background to look kind of, I don't know, reminiscent of like my vibes, like warm, fun, girly colors. And the Den was able to work with us on that to make sure that we had the lighting the way that we wanted to. And it
Mhm.
wasn't just like a generic stand up background like a lot of other specials have. I'm really dragging other people's specials, but I guess good for them. I
She's
guess
like,
whatever.
yeah, and well,
I
because I
guess I
mean,
don't care.
yeah. I mean, being unique is actually also like one of the key things. Cause like, I mean, cause people, like you said, like a lot of people are like, everybody's putting out a special like every week. So it's kind of
Yeah.
like it's hard to find ways to like make your special more unique out of like the 8 million ones. It's like going to McDonald's and trying to make the best Big Mac out of like
Yeah.
9,000 other Big Macs and stuff. So
Yeah,
I,
exactly.
I do respect that process and
Yeah.
choosing the venue and then selecting the material, because
Yeah.
you're not like a lot of normal like traditional female stand-up comics. You're actually very, very blunt, and your material is based on a lot of like dating mishaps that you've
Mhm.
experienced in your life, or you've seen people experience in your life.
Mhm.
Like how how did you find the way to make dating like mishaps one of the funniest things in the world?
I think it's just like um I can't believe this is still happening type of energy, you know. And I get it. We're all just trying. We're all out here trying to meet people, trying to, you know, connect or whatever. And I get a lot of guys that I go on dates with that are nervous that something like that will happen from like dating a comedian. But I just think like, if you don't do anything wrong, I won't have anything to joke about. But
Yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah,
just like the silly, I think that's maybe the that I really makes me laugh, of like the people that are just trying their best and we just keep fucking it up. But I think that there are plenty of stories that make me look like the really like crazy person, but those guys don't do stand up. So
yeah. Because I mean, because so a lot of your stories in the special about dating, you can tell they come from personal experiences. Like, did the editing process like affect like how the joke was going to be or perceived? Because like I know a lot of people, like when they look at the special, especially if they dated you or dated comics in general, like they'll look back on it like, oh my God, like I can't believe this person like said that, and now the whole world's laughing at it. Did you slightly adjust your editing process when it came to your special?
Not really. I think the adjusting comes in writing the joke, where the jokes, no one can really, you know, there's no one guy that can be like, that was me. I think it's except for the guy that said that his favorite food was soup, but I don't think that he really he looks me up. But it's sometimes a lot of the jokes are just an amalgamation of a bunch of bad dates, or I think that the editing needs to be vague enough and also always come back to me being the butt of the joke, right? Mm-hmm. Like it's always coming back to me being like my reaction or my how I messed it up. You know, I'm trying to think of like, yeah, there's one where I'm talking about guys in their 40s want to talk on the phone. And I say, I don't want to talk on the phone because I can't screenshot a phone call to share with my friends. And I'm like, well, yeah, that means that I'm the bad person in here. You're supposed to be sharing the phone. You're supposed to be screenshotting messages to send to your friends, but while doing it anyway, where I try, and hopefully that comes across to have it come back on the end. But most of the editing, in terms of the joke, happens before when I'm writing it, so that not one person gets their feelings hurt, because that is cruel. I think that would be very bad if I like wrote a very blatant joke about somebody and then they were like, I thought we had a nice time.
Yeah. So another part of the process of your special is like basically, I mean, like we were talking about before we started recording, you shot this special a year ago. Or close to a year ago, and then it got released months and months later. How is that process? Is that process stressful or more relaxing? Like once you get it done and you're just waiting for it to be released?
The hardest part was after filming. Like all the stuff leading up to filming was super fun, and like getting all the lights down and, you know, promoting the show and then recording it. That was all great, and getting like hair and makeup done. Afterwards, you like to rewatch it again and again with like a fine-tooth comb and say, cut this, move that, move this around. That's really on another level. That was the hardest part. And that was the part that took the longest. And it's only because I was dragging my feet, because I didn't want to watch myself. Because you watch your jokes 100 times and you're like, why would anyone ever say that? Like, I watched that special so much and I was like, none of this is funny, and these audience members are liars. Because I've seen it 1 million times. But it is just to get to the final cut, which is something that hopefully the artist can be something that they're proud of. So after editing it for, you know, clarity, or editing it for like little things to cut out, we then got into like graphics and stuff. Where it was like, what kind of song do you want to play? What graphics are you looking for? Like, what do you want the title to be? And that was, you know, I feel like a lot of the stuff we'd like work really quickly to get these answers out, and then we'd wait a long time. So like we'd get everything done in a week in terms of graphics, and here's the stuff coming back from like the audio people, and then it would be like a month. And then they'd come back with, here's the set list and here's what we're going to title everything. Let us know if you have any issues. And like, that would be really fast. And then we'd have to wait. But we had the launch date for April back in November or December of last year. And it just that type of time frame doesn't feel real in November when they're like, it's coming out in April. And you're like, we're not going to be here in April. What are you talking about? Like, April is never going to come. That,
so you tell family, like, wait till April. It's coming out.
Oh, yeah, exactly. So yeah, that was it was like equal parts fast and really slow.
Okay, yeah, because I always like to figure out that process, just the waiting period. So you're just like sitting to wait, because like I can already tell in the beginning, it's like, yo, you think this is the greatest thing ever, and then like as months and months go by, it's like, oh snap, I could have did this. Oh man, they're gonna trash.
Oh yeah, and I can't think of that. I can't be like that. That's why like when I was done and I was done filming it, I was like, okay, a lot of these jokes are like gonna be like mostly done, because I can't keep like tweaking them and tuning them, knowing that the finished product is already the unfinished joke has already been recorded and on Amazon Prime. So it's been a good like motivational thing too, to like push yourself to write new material, especially when all this other stuff you've been doing for years and now it's out for a lot of people to see.
Okay, and then so there's a joke on the special that I think is kind of my favorite joke, the threesome. That fell in love during the threesome. I don't know if you can confirm or deny if that actually happened like recently or like a while back to you, or if this was just like something that happened to somebody else. But
I was doing crowd work. That's all it was. I was doing crowd work and I was like, how'd you get me? And they're like, I had a threesome. And I was like, what? And then I like sat and thought about it, and then I was like, I'm writing this down, because it was just so funny that like everybody else is like, we met on Hinge, or like we met on OkCupid, and they're just like, no, we were absolutely in a threesome.
No, we were in a threesome. We fell in love right then and there, and like if only that could. I mean, it's so crazy that you couldn't make it up. That was
literally exactly. Yeah.
And so I know, like when people watch the special and they come up to you, they ask you if that was real. Like, do you get like a joy out of people coming up to you and be like, yo, like, I don't believe that one joke that you said, but then like you got to tell them, no, it really happened.
Totally. Yes. Like, I love when people ask, like, did this really happen? Because like, why would I make that up? Why would I lie about anything? I think, there are some comedians who like find a punchline and work backwards, and it just feels inauthentic. And that's I think the biggest compliment that someone can give me is like, one, so relatable, and two, it just feels like you're just talking to us. Like, you're just like, it just felt like we were just like out with our friends, shooting the shit. And a lot of women will come up to me and say, you talk just like me and my friends do. We should get brunch tomorrow. And I'm like, thank you. I will not be going to brunch, but thank you so much. I didn't want to hang out with you. But yeah, and I think that's the other thing with dating, that a lot of the stories seem like too crazy to be true. But then also people that are like, wait, no, that happened to me too. Like, that's like a little bit more. It's not just we're in this alone.
Yeah. So is it hard? Well, since the specials come out and stuff and people, is it harder for you to date or easier for you to date?
I would say it's about the same. The thing that I have found that has definitely changed in dating is I do not tell people that I do stand up until we meet in real life, because of the stuff that we were talking about earlier. Like, people are understandably nervous that something they do or say is going to end up in my material. And it's hard to convince them otherwise when they don't know who I am. Like, yes, I feel like who I am on stage is very similar to me personally, but it's just a little bit more heightened. It's hard to explain that to people on dating apps. And so when I tell them I'm a stand-up comedian, it's very easy for them to Google my name, Deanna Chicago stand-up, and I come up immediately. So they're able to find everything that there is to see about me and jump to some conclusions that wouldn't necessarily be true. Right now, I don't tell people about my job until we meet in real life. And then at that point, they're taken by my charm and wisdom, so they have no choice.
It's because they got to go back and tell friends, like, well, what does she do? Okay, look,
Yeah,
first of all,
yeah.
okay,
First of all,
this is her job, and this is her second job. And then,
yeah, yes,
well, she's a
yes,
totally
yeah,
normal person. She's totally
yeah.
normal, the sweetest person you'll
Yes.
ever meet and stuff. So
She's nice.
yeah, she's nice. I mean, she doesn't partake in her work. I mean, mostly.
Yeah.
I mean, she does, but not all the time. So
Yes, exactly.
yeah.
That's that is the hardest part. And I mean, for the most part, if someone doesn't understand that, then maybe we won't really connect with other things. But that is the hardest thing I think about dating comedians is getting to understand like how the jokes are created, because it's, I was dating one guy, and I was trying to write something, and it wasn't necessarily about him, but it was kind of like him and other guys that I had seen. And so he thought this joke was about him, and I was like, it's not really, but it's not that bad. I called you sporty, so relax. Those worst things I could have said.
Yeah. You were like, I do date other people, right?
Yeah.
I date other people and stuff. So, oh man. So yeah, we live in a YouTube generation, and so and it's crazy right now with like the state of comedy. Like basically, it's gone from basically watching it on Comedy Central back in the early 90s and 2000s and 2010s to basically like everybody blowing up from YouTube or just a viral sketch or a viral meme that like was created in their behalf. What do you think? What are your thoughts right now currently on the state of comedy, and where do you think it's going?
That's a really tough question. I mean, when I first started doing stand-up, it was 2014. And the idea that if you went back in time and said one day you're going to have all of your material cut up and put on the internet, I would laugh in your face. Like I pushed back on that for so long because I was like, you're going to take my material for free? I don't think so. And it's just a totally different landscape now. Like people, it's all, followers, and there's something to be said for people with a lot of followers. And then it's also like some people have a lot of followers, and that doesn't necessarily equate to good presence on stage and joke writing and ability, which is really frustrating because there's like an insane amount of talent, especially in Chicago, of people who, are writing and working and have really, really great takes. But unfortunately, a lot of people don't find them because they don't have a lot of followers. And in the same breath, there's people who I've done shows with in, bigger cities where I'll follow them and they have hundreds of thousands of followers. And I'm like, but what did you even do? Like what are we doing on stage? I want to, like, if you have hundreds of thousands of followers and you are cracking me up and it's a great time, then that's great. But it's really hard. It's different. It's a totally different comedy world that we're living in now. And especially after the pandemic of, well, what do people want? Do they want stand-up? Do they want sketch? Do they want a podcast? What is it? You got to find the niche, and you can only do that by trying different things, which is good and bad,
Yeah, no, because actually, I mean, the Chicago scene, actually Chicago in general, like the comedy scene, I would say is one of the last of a like kind of a like dying breed where like they focus actually on like traditional like stand up like as your talent, like to like get bookings and not really affected by like social media following or just viral popularity. I mean, like most of the comics out there, like they're working, like busting their ass like every night, like getting on stage, trying to get better and get more material. Like, why do you think that is about like Chicago, like in general?
I just definitely think it's because there's not a lot of industry here, because like, and that's been the blessing and curse for Chicago comics for a really long time, is that there's, the idea that like, oh, so-and-so might pop in and sign you to your big, comedy label here. It happens few and far between. That like, there's no pressure to like to put on that big pomp and circumstance. So you can try out different things and like really get to be really good at your craft, and that's the great part about it. And then the bad part about it is that, you know, there's not that, I don't know, it's a different type of mentality that comedians on the coasts, I think, of how much of your soul are you going to sell to get followers
Yeah.
and work. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, I mean, there's lots of stuff that I'm also doing to get followers because I do want to work, and I know that if I want to work in bigger markets, that I need bigger followers. Like, that's just what it is now. You know, if I want to perform at this venue, if I want to perform at this place, I need a certain amount of followers so that the company can make money. I totally get that. Yeah, I think Chicago is just lucky that we have a built-in network of comedy clubs that want to support local comedians, because that's the other thing I convey to other comedians that don't know about Chicago. I'm like, you can go up like 3 different shows a night and make good money. Whereas like if you do 2 or 3 shows in like a different city, you're racing all over the place and you're not making that much money. But again, those areas have industry and a bigger market. So it's an interesting give and take when it comes to the business and Chicago specifically.
Okay, so back to your special right now, and being nice. What, like, overall, because I know you're a comedy enthusiast and you've watched a lot of stand-up comedy specials this year. If you had to put your special in if you had to put your special in the top the tops of the tops of this year, you can be extremely confident about your special, or you can dog shit like as much as you want. Would you put it in the top 10, top 25, top 50, or top 100?
I'll say top 50.
Oh, you're being modest.
And I think that's the Midwestern in me. I wanted to say top 100,000, but it's hard. There's so many incredibly talented people that released a special this year. Beth Stelling's Landlord special is incredible. Lisa Traeger released a special last year, I think, Night Owl on Netflix. So good. I will talk about this special until the day that I die. Rory Scovel's on HBO Max. It's like sex, religion, and some stuff in between. The most incredible special I've ever seen. I will watch it start to. It's so good. It is so funny that, like, you know, there's sometimes you'll see really, really talented people coming and stuff, and you're like, what am I even doing? Like, when I see Rory Scovel post stuff, because his stand-up feels so like, we were all thinking it. Why didn't one of us just say it? Like, to me, it feels like he's just like, oh, here's this. I just picked this off of the tree. It's for you. It's the most funniest thing in the whole world. It just feels so effortless, and he's so talented. But, but that was his special was a couple years ago, so that doesn't count for mine.
She's like, it wasn't this year. It wasn't.
I just had to get it out. Yeah. The Beth Stelling special. Beth is Beth is incredible. Beth is just literally with the when people say that my stand-up is conversational, I was like, Beth, you feel so safe with her on stage of just like, well, I'm starting here, and you just have so much trust in her that she's going to take you somewhere really, like, she's so in control when she's on stage. It's really incredible to watch.
Yeah, no, but I would have to say your special is one of the tops of the year. I think and the reason why I think it's like one of the tops of the year is definitely like a shock value in there. Like, when people watch it, they are like shocked that like somebody of your stature is like saying the things that they're saying. But also it's not in a way to where it's like, oh, I think they're only doing this for shock value. There's a whole story being told like in the process, and you don't get that a lot with stand-up comedy anymore. So I appreciate the aspect of your special. But now, almost to the end, we're almost to the finish line. Just have one more question to ask you. What are you doing next for your next special?
Yeah, so what I'm working on right now is a solo show called Funny Slut. And I'm touring that all over the country, and it's half PowerPoint, half stand-up. So it's like storytelling, PowerPoint. It's mostly focused on my day job, before they let me go, my day job was doing social media for porn stars. So it's mostly just focused on like what that was like, what I was doing, and how it affected my everyday life. So that's a
Yes.
really fun thing that I'm working on right now.
Yeah, you're a woman of many talents, I guess.
Yeah.
That's what somebody would say. Like
Yeah.
she has many talents. All that look like this is what I do.
Crazy shit. Yeah.
But it's crazy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I gotta love that. Do you already how much like material do you feel like, I mean, percentage wise, do you have already completed for it?
For the Funny Slut show?
Yes.
Yeah.
Or
Oh,
for
yeah. It's totally
working on the special right now, how much do you feel like, how percentage of it do you have?
interesting because every time I do it, I change it. So I would say it's mostly like 80%, 90% done. But there's certain things that I'm like, I want to fix this, but I don't know how. I think the that just comes with doing it again and again and again. But it's almost there. You know, I think of stand up like with specials of like putting a puzzle together. That I'm like,
Mhm.
you're figuring out the puzzle out, and it's almost there, but you can't really figure it. Then when you do, you're like, did I solve the puzzle?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's about 80% there. And I don't know when I'm going to film it or where or anything like that. But right now I'm just focusing on getting it on its feet and seeing what people say.
Oh, well, in the meantime, while we're waiting for another classic from Deanna, you can check out her latest comedy special, I'm Being Nice, right now on Comedy Dynamics or anywhere that you get visual on demand, whether it be Apple or Amazon or basically Comedy Dynamics website where you can actually watch it for free there and stuff. Love to see you on the road. If you have not seen her, she's touring all over the US right now. If they wanted to find out how they can get tickets to your show, where would they go, Deanna?
DeannaOrtiz.com, or my Instagram is at DeannaOrtiz _. All my dates are on there.
Yes. I can't wait to see you because actually I want to kind of see you in LA next week on the 15th when you come, or some other time sooner than that. So can't wait to see that. So this is Tyson
Awesome.
Paul from laughs.com. Always remember to laugh at life because it's actually pretty funny. Go check out Deanna's special, I'm Being Nice, right now. You're in for a real treat. Deanna, it was a pleasure. Thank you, and I'll see you soon.
Thank you so much. Thank you.